Welcome to No Four Studios. Today we got some lineup. We got Frank Zagarino, we got Tanner Zagarino, and we got Vince. Guys, what are we talking about today? Let's not get canceled on this one, right?
We're talking about small town values.
Small town values.
Small town
It's all
values.
about small town values, and it's about two brothers, the Zagarino brothers, who left town, struggled a little bit, and now they're kind of found their way. I'd like to start with the older brother first,
Oh shit.
Frankie.
There we go, Frankie.
Oh, what's the cursing situation?
Frankie.
What are we
Frank,
doing? Are we
let's go,
R-rated?
Be
Frankie.
yourself. Don't get us canceled.
Okay.
Yeah, say what you want, but not everything you want.
Yeah, for sure.
Frank,
What's up?
tell us about it. So where are you now? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm in Los Angeles. I've been living here. July 1st was 10 years of living back in LA.
Damn.
Nitro.
Oh, Frank.
I was born here, moved to Long Island, New York in 3rd grade. And I would say I love the North Fork, but I would say that about a month into living in the North Fork, I wanted to come back.
You're used to different things, man.
Yeah. Just but I am very, very thankful for the North Fork. And I don't mean this as a backhanded compliment. I actually mean it. It was an amazing place to grow up. It was very safe. Going to school was great. Growing up, obviously, our whole family is wrestlers, and wrestling was one of the greatest experiences of my life and taught me a lot about hard work and how hard it is to get good at something that's worth getting good at. It just taught me that it's really, really hard to be good at something that's worthwhile. And also, growing up on the North Fork is where I learned to skateboard. I was kind of more on the rebellious side as a kid. I was never a really good student. I just wanted to get out of school and go skateboard.
Wakeboard too.
And wakeboard.
We got the bay, baby.
Wow.
Wakeboard during the summer. And that also kind of taught me how hard it is to be good at something that's worth being good at. It took me, it's like just a kickflip, which is like the most basic trick in skateboarding aside from an ollie. I rolled up and down my driveway for years, going back and forth trying to learn how to kickflip, and I just wouldn't stop every day, all day, up and down the driveway, whether my friends were there, whether they weren't, by myself, with friends. And it just wrestling and skateboarding kind of taught me how hard it is to get good at something worthwhile that makes you happy.
You got to be dedicated, bro. You got to be dedicated.
Yeah, so I grew up there, and in 10th grade, I went to a music festival. It was actually the first concert of my life, and I kind of just went right into the deep end. It was a 4-night, 3-day camp out music festival on the Hells Angels private property.
Wow.
Safe to say he was sober.
Yeah.
Safe to say he was a sober 10th grader.
Yeah.
There was no underage drinking.
No,
It was more underage
That's
tripping
it.
acid.
That's it. Yeah.
I was always friends with older kids, so at that time I went with my friends who were seniors. I was in 10th grade, they were seniors, and I walked away from a DJ set of one of my favorite DJs at the time. He's gotten canceled for things, so I won't mention his name.
Not get you canceled next.
Yeah.
Keep him.
But I literally walked away. I remember this clear as day. I walked away from this DJ set. It was at the main stage of the festival. It was the last set of the night. It was one of the most encapsulating experiences of my life. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I didn't know anything like this existed. And I walked away dumbfounded. And I was with my friends. I was with a few of my close friends walking back to the campsite. And they were like, "Yo, are you okay?" And I was like, "I'm great." And they were like, "You look startled." And I'm like, I'm great. And they're like, "What's going on?" And I was like, "I just decided what I'm going to do with the rest of my life." And they were like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "I'm going to do what that guy did. I'm going to do my version of it, but that's what I'm going to do." And I got home, and the next day I woke up and I looked at my dad. I think I woke up early. I woke my dad. I couldn't even sleep. And I was like, "Dad."
Same passion.
Yeah. And I was just like, "Dad, I need my big Christmas present early." And he's like, "When do you need it?" I was like, "Yesterday. Like, I need it.
I got to start practicing.
I need it immediately." He's like, "What is it?" I'm like, I'd stayed up the night I got home from the festival researching DJ turntables, like every kind. And we ordered the one that I wanted. And it took like a week and a half to get there. And all I did for the week and a half until it got there was zoomed in on a picture of it, looked at every single button and what the button was labeled, and research each button on that
So
turntable.
crazy.
So cool.
And-
Frankie, back in the day when we wanted to be DJs, there was the Techniques turntables
Oh,
on
yeah.
the old vinyls.
Technique.
And you hit the
1200s.
little button, the little light popped up, and it was like pump up the volume, pump up the
Yeah.
volume, dance. You know, that was one of the old school things. You had the big fuzzy mixing
Vinyl.
boards.
Yeah.
Vinyl.
Milk
Everyone walking in
boxes
with their
full of
crates
records.
of records. You know,
Yeah.
and you'd be scratching, and like everyone thought they could be a DJ. So I give you a lot of credit. That's not an easy task.
I learned.
Bro, that shit's really hard though. This like the actual like scratching.
I've done it.
records,
I've done it.
takes a lot of skill.
I've done it. It's very, very, very difficult. Technology.
Frank, one of Frank's best friends, this guy JCO we know, is really good at scratching like actual right. Isn't that kind of what Jake does?
Yeah. He's like a world class turntablist. He went on a reality TV show on I forgot a huge network, and he got first place and won $500,000.
Wow.
Wow.
No, really?
And
What's his name?
His name he goes by JCO, JayceeOh. It's a weird name, but yeah.
JCO.
Yeah, I lived with him for a while. We were working on music. I'll wrap up the story. I'll fast forward it really quick. So go to 1 year of community college. Go to one semester of community college.
That's all you need.
That's all you need,
That's all
bro.
you need.
I walked
Nothing.
I walked out. Pretty much, a teacher said some pretty offensive stuff to me. I looked at him. I stood up in the middle of the class. I told him to go F himself. I walked out of that classroom. As I was walking out, it was almost as clear as when I first saw that first DJ set. I was like, I'm never coming back to this place ever again.
Just quick pause, Frank. That is not the first nor the last. It probably was the last, but it was definitely not the first time Frank stood up and said "fuck you." He was notorious since he was in like 5th grade. You can ask my mom from like when he was like a kid.
Yeah,
I would just be like, this is fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, he was doing that since he was a baby. Like there's no stopping him. No amount of detention. No amount of
you're
nothing.
awesome. Yeah, right. No one was going to tell you how to walk.
Notoriously authority.
Yeah. Well, just anti like being demeaning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
How many times, Frank? How many times do you think you've said "fuck you" to a teacher in your life?
I'd say a solid 4.
That's
4
it.
fuck yous. How many like this is? It's how many like you make a scene
out
of their bullshit?
I can't count on 5 hands.
Yeah, countless.
So, Frank, are you the reason the word "triggered" exists today? Did you get triggered?
Frank was a trigger.
You were the trigger. You were the trigger.
I was very passionate about everything that I liked, and if I didn't like it, I was very, very passionate about not liking it.
Yeah, that's great. Though, listen, there's nothing wrong with saying the way you feel. You know, so many people hide behind just conforming with everything. So, man, I give you respect. You're leading your own path.
That's not his style.
I wear my heart. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm pretty much as transparent as I can get. I'm not going to change who I am or how I talk for anyone ever. It's either it's a take it or leave it situation for sure.
Right. Take me as I am. Right.
Yeah.
Bro,
yeah.
That's always been his style.
That's great.
He could never do anything else either. Like I swear. I mean, I've been around my brother we now both live in LA together. I've been around him for all 25 years of my life. I've never once, and I've said this about Frankie multiple times, I've never once in my life ever seen him act differently around one person or another. Like, I'm not kidding. Never.
Yeah.
To the point where it's like, if he's like, it's like, change a little.
Yeah. Put the filter on a little bit.
Put
These
the filter
people are
on
not
a
like
little.
us. You know, oh my God, that's great.
Be you.
He'll be around.
Frankie,
He'll be around. You know, criminals. He'll be around Catholics.
Anyone.
And
Yeah.
he'll be like,
Same.
"The fuck is this?"
But
He
be
doesn't
real.
care.
Be real, man. That's
He's
awesome.
definitely real.
Tanner. All right, yeah, Frank.
So dropped out of college, convinced my dad to let me use some of the funding some of the grant money for schooling that he got from the government to use on this completely unaccredited school in Manhattan, dedicated to electronic music production. I went to a year program there, went back home, cleaned pools and built pools for a summer, which was the most miserable thing I've ever done in my life. And then right at the end,
local, we want to shout out the local businesses.
yeah.
Yes.
And then right around the end of the summer, Tanner's modeling career on Instagram started picking up, and he was like, "I'm moving to LA, and I can't go alone. You're coming with me." And luckily, to my amazing freaking brother, I had the opportunity to move out there, and he was my ticket out here. And just fast forward, years of grinding, years of releasing on labels, years of being broke and eating cup of noodles and driving Uber and doing odd jobs and just absolutely refusing to give up this music dream.
Grinding, bro.
Yeah, just grinding. Fast forward to 10 years later in Los Angeles. I'm living in this freaking beautiful mansion with
Wow.
He's literally living in a man. This kid is killing it.
Good for you, bro. Good for you,
Local
Frank.
success story.
He's looking at the high ceilings in that place. Show us how high those ceilings are, Frank. Those are some high ceilings right
I'm
there.
sitting in this
He's in his own personal studio right now.
sitting in this amazing studio, and I missed it.
Oh my
He
God.
broke into your neighbor's apartment. Just don't tell him.
Don't tell them about it. I got like 5 more minutes before they come home.
Yeah, yeah,
You know
yeah.
what, Frankie's got a little
Guys,
bucket.
I made it.
He's like,
The
"Just
squatting.
gathering
I
up."
made it. The squatting rules in Los Angeles. You can do whatever you want.
I'm not moving out. Listen, just so you know, Tanner was a little nervous when he walked in because obviously he's, a superstar and he's
No.
so handsome. And then, he walked in and it's not that many times that he's seen 2 other models, Vin and myself.
Yeah, of course.
They really got a little nervous that it might not be the star in the room.
I did. I was wearing this fucking hat. I was wearing this fucking hat. I had to take it off, show the locks, so these
He's
guys
like,
don't.
"Oh, man."
No, I can't dress silly in here.
I
He's
I
like,
gotta-
look at Big Papa on the mic over here, spinning out with Vin
This
over
guy.
here. Oh my God.
So Frank, finish what you were saying about the.
Yeah. So just like after years of, it's very similar to like I sucked at wrestling and didn't get any validation for all the work I was putting in. The whole time I wrestled, I lost all the time until senior year. Skateboarding took me absolutely forever to learn how to do a 360 kickflip, like literally years and years.
You
and
don't
years
give
and
up,
years.
Frank. Tell
And
Frankie doesn't give up.
And then it took 10 years of like very, very little success and very little validation and very little reassurance that this was going to happen, and just kind of being a little crazy and being like, no, all it is consistent in time. And I just announced my first international tour, so I'm going.
What?
Yeah.
Bro,
I love that.
Frank!
Determination, Frank.
love that.
Determination
Yeah,
pays
we're
off.
doing-
What can you talk about it?
Yeah, we're doing it's I'm on 10 dates, 2 stops in Canada, and the rest is a bunch of markets in the US that I've never played before. So it's going to be a real game changer for me.
You'll be in New York, Frank. When are you in New York?
Yeah, when are you in New York?
New York is hold
Hold
on.
up on your Instagram real quick.
Frankie.
New York is October 4th, Webster Hall, baby.
Oh wow.
That's
Webster
it,
Hall.
guys. Get
Venue.
tickets. We'll
Great
put a link
venue.
on next to the podcast if you don't know
Oh,
where
yeah.
to find them.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's the condensed version
a
of
great
the
story.
journey.
Bro,
Yeah.
Frank, I swear I just have to pause. I mean, obviously I know my brother's story because I was there for all of it. But when he like talks about it, I'm looking at it from like a third party perspective.
Crazy.
It's just so sick. I
Yeah.
mean, and you just kind of found this common theme that like when you're a senior, you usually end up getting good at it. And like you don't give up. And then you get to a place where it's like you're somebody where it's like you work real fucking hard and then takes a while and then you get good.
Yeah.
And then you realize it was wrestling and it was skating and then it was music.
And music, I didn't know how to play any instruments. I had no classical training. I didn't know how to produce or use the program that I used when I started. I didn't know anything. I didn't even know when I started making music that a song has a key that you need to stick to. I didn't even know that. So like
I'm just doing that right now.
Yeah, thank you so much, Frank.
I was not naturally gifted. I was not naturally gifted at this at all. But I am a true advocate that like aggressive passion beats natural talent 100% of the time. And the person who's gonna put their head down and grind and refuse to be bad at something just because they love it that much, that's gonna outshine everything else always, no matter what.
Refusing to be bad.
Yeah,
I like that.
Well, listen, in life, you got to have a couple different things. And I say this all the time, you got to have balls, right? You got to have some know-how. You got to have a little stupid in you because you can't be afraid to make mistakes. You just got to like not care. Right? You got to be a little bit nuts. And you know what? The most important thing that pizza, that pie is dedication.
Yeah.
If you're dedicated to something and you're willing to put forward the effort, because remember, I say this all the time. It's very simple to judge people when they're on top. It's easy to be generous when you're doing well. It's really defines who you are as a person when you're on the bottom and you're grinding. And that's who you see difference between friends and associates, right? I mean, obviously, Frank, your brother's your biggest fan, and vice versa. I could tell you guys love each other. You got a beautiful family. I know your mom. You guys are amazing people. And when you're on the bottom, it's the people that are around you that bring you to the top.
Yeah.
When you're at the top, there's other people that bring you down,
Oh
right?
yeah.
So I love the stories of entrepreneurship. I love the stories of saying, hey, it wasn't what you think. I didn't start here.
The journey wasn't great.
And remember one thing, I say this all the time, your past will define your future. In my business, everything I've done, all my mistakes, the wins, the losses, more losses than wins sometimes, that's what's given me the skills to be here today and what I do, in my businesses. And obviously not succeeding right away in wrestling, but not giving up,
Yeah.
and then trying to skateboard and breaking your shin a million times and getting hurt.
Yeah, breaking his ankle on YouTube.
Your ankle,
Oh,
and
wow.
all this crazy shit. But you know what? That's what made you, right? Because then when you're like, listen, now you found something you did
Not
love.
afraid to break my ankle.
Yeah.
This guy's
I
got scars. You gotta have scars.
You gotta have scars, bro. And I think
Yeah.
that's a great story, Frank. I haven't got a chance to ever hear that story. So I really love that you shared that with us.
And just to
talk to our listeners now, so they're gonna appreciate it too,
Yeah,
Frank.
yeah. We're about to turn this. We're
We're
gonna turn this up.
turn this up.
This is
Turn it
excellent.
up.
Just to
So-
relate it to the North Fork really quick, and I don't mean this as a backhanded compliment. I mean this honestly. Growing up in the North Fork, coming from Los Angeles, everyone followed a very, very, very conventional path,
Right.
and like everyone was like, I have to get good grades, I have to go to college, I have to get a stable, reliable job before I even think about pursuing my passions. And I
Right.
saw my older friends graduate and do that, and friends that were naturally so much more artistically talented than me, like way better than me at guitar, singing, production, drums, whatever, like beasts, amazing. And I saw them follow that safe path, and they never ever went back to this thing that they were amazing at. That I think that
Wow.
they
Right.
and I really, really resented that. And I think the fact that I grew up in a place surrounded by people that take the conventional path, it actually gave me more motivation to go do what I love and what I wanted to do. And I'm actually really thankful that I
And
grew up like that.
I think it gave you so much room to be, you
Yep.
grew up in LA, you grew up in New York City, you got 50 other kids in your grade that all want to produce music. You got 50
Right.
other kids that all want to be actors. Like, man,
Exactly.
when you get the room to be, a maverick, and especially sometimes it's good to be a maverick in a situation where everyone's doing similar things, taking similar paths, and then they think you're fucking crazy, and you get to actually kind of have that feeling of like, damn, I feel like I'm actually doing something rebellious.
Right.
When you grow up in LA,
Right.
every fucking kid's an actor.
Right.
Every kid is
Yeah.
like doing commercials when they're kids. Every kid's
They're
got
born.
Ableton or Logic and is making music. And like when you're out here, you're doing it. It's like, and I have to say, I look around Mattatuck, it's like weirdly a hub for like little mavericks to come out here. We see Morgan Saint.
Yeah.
We see Taylor, her older sister. We see Joe Mealy, who just is like the biggest TikToker in the world right now. Was in my high school, in my grade.
Oh,
We got
that's
Frankie.
crazy.
We got me. There's so many people from out here that we like. We got Baby James. We got all these people that are doing like cool shit everywhere. And I think it's really cool that like in a little town like this, we've actually created a little spark, and I think a little pocket for
Love
kids
that.
to be able to do shit like that.
Yeah.
And I think there's a
And-
lot of people who go the regular route, but it's like cool that we have like a little bit of
That rebellious feeling,
cool.
that rebellious feeling is something I feel like makes it that much more exciting. Being the black sheep, it's like, it gives you something to prove, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
it's so rad.
It gives you something to prove.
And it bums you out so much when you're failing.
Yeah.
And when I'm failing, when I was failing before, like literally this year, I was just like, these motherfuckers
hold on.
are all got money now.
Yeah.
I all got money now. It's so
Yeah,
bummed.
This is bullshit.
Yeah, I know.
Bullshit. I should have listened to you, Mom.
It didn't bum you out that much, either of you, because you didn't quit.
Yeah, no way. Dude, quitting
they're
would
not
be
quitters.
even more of a
Worse.
bummer.
There, there's
We don't
there's
quit.
also
Yeah.
there's also that point where you're like, I'm 8.5 years in. I think I got to stick with this.
Yeah.
What else am I gonna do?
I know how to be broke now.
Yeah.
What's even
Yeah.
weird is being rich.
Yeah,
We
exactly.
have to try
Yeah.
that.
So true.
Tanner, why don't you tell us a little bit about your story?
Okay, so similar. I moved out from LA when I was 4. So a little bit different than Frankie. He like his childhood, like a big part of his childhood was in Los Angeles. Mine wasn't. I've been like a North Forker my whole life, so I have a little bit of a different attachment to the North Fork and to Long Island. This is like my home. So I come back here. Frankie's home, I think, always in his heart will be Los Angeles. He's
Right.
got a lot of things he loves about Long Island, but I'm like a New Yorker. Like I really believe that like I was raised on Long Island. I identify with Long Island. I loved my whole childhood here. I love it out here. Every time I come home, I think you guys can tell I'm like
Yeah.
You got to pull me away from here to bring me back to LA. I love LA too. But so I moved out here, similar path to Frankie. I didn't get into any like community theater or anything. I started wrestling in 2nd grade, and that became my life. You know, my hand-eye coordination, despite what you may think, isn't where it should be. You know, I couldn't.
What do you mean?
I can't catch a
catch a
ball.
ball.
I can't throw a
his
ball.
coordination's a little off.
Yeah, my coordination's off. I try to catch a ball. It looks like I'm clapping at a bug. I can't do it. But,
Bro, I suck too.
I
You know
suck.
what?
I
It's
suck.
part of being a model, guys. Just so you know, this is what we got to do.
This is what we
with.
could do.
You
You know?
get
So
blessed with
put it
good
out
looks,
there.
no coordination.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you know, it is what it is.
So Frankie was very coordinated, and I think me and my dad were talking about this yesterday. He's just a better athlete than me. But I found wrestling way before him. So I was skating with him, but I was mostly wrestling. So wrestling was my life from 2nd grade to senior year, and I kind of took a knack to it. We were in a great program, and Matt took wrestling that grade.
Yeah,
We ended up being the #1 team in the state.
Oh,
you know,
wow.
me and all the Hogs, and then like they started a kids program that
I love
pretty
it.
much changed the
My
entire.
son's going to start
Norfolk.
this year.
Let's go.
Can't
That's
wait.
amazing. It's a great sport. So I wrestled 2nd grade throughout senior year. Ended up winning New York State as a senior. So it was, that was like my, you know, that was the Super Bowl for if you're a wrestler or an athlete in high school, winning a state title is like
It's huge.
holy shit. I mean, you can't even. You're. I was thinking about the other day. You're in 7th grade or you're in 9th grade looking at state champs like they're
wild.
LeBron James.
That's
wild.
And then
badass,
next thing
right?
you're up there, and I'm
Yeah.
sitting there in the back room, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm the #1 seed, and I'm in the state finals, and holy shit!
Nice.
And
That's
then I won.
crazy kid.
So
Yeah.
that was my trajectory with wrestling was like, you know, I ended up getting successful, and that was really really exciting. And I mean, it took a lot of, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
you guys know wrestling. It takes
Yeah.
a ton of hard
Yeah,
work.
that's a different
Your
body.
ears look
you know,
good,
different
though,
workout.
both of you.
Both of our ears got protected, man. We were lucky. I don't know,
Yeah.
maybe we got flexible
Flexible
cartilage.
cartilage.
Yeah, you're lucky, man. You're right.
And then
Just
I
like
went
your
on
college.
to so wrestling was a huge part of my life. You know, the North Fork, that was our whole life.
Yeah.
And we had a great whole community of people that just supported the hell out of us, and we had a great coach, Corey Dolson, who's probably the best wrestling coach I've ever had in my life. And I went and wrestled Division I in college, and nothing's
Wow.
like that guy. He's someone that I think is
He's a beast.
in everybody's life who he touched has been like, this guy's like a cornerstone and why
I
became a
agree.
man.
I agree.
That's awesome.
So he changed my life, and he changed this whole town. And then I went on to go wrestle in college at the University of Pittsburgh, because at that time in my senior year of high school, I was like, it's so funny. I don't even remember making this. Frankie remembers that real decision to become an actor. I always, from a young age, was like, no, I'm gonna be a movie star. I'm gonna be a movie star. And at the same time,
I'm going to be a movie star.
I want to be a movie star. And I was like, I guess my dad acted, you know, back in the day for a long time, and my mom was an actor too.
Senior, yeah.
Frank Senior, and then my mom acted, and we moved from LA, and it just felt like it wasn't, you know, that big of a leap for me, and I thought that would be cool. And
I
then
love that.
at the same time in high school, which I think you guys remember, right around like 10th grade, I did a photo shoot on Long Island, and it was the time of like when Instagram was and social media was really like getting pumping, and I got caught in the algorithm of the popular page. I got like 10,000 followers in one day.
Wow.
Wow.
And then over the next 3 years, I got up to like, you know, almost half a million followers on Instagram. All in high school, became like a Instagram model and celebrity. Meanwhile, juxtaposing that life, which I have this like, dare I say, superficial life of the Instagram model, and then the wrestling life. And I'm like being pulled in two directions. That's why me and Frank went out to LA for a little bit for me to go do the
That's
modeling
amazing.
and the influencing, and maybe even try my hand in acting for a little bit until I had. Dude, this is a funny story. We go out to LA, my first audition. I mean, I think I could just be a movie star, right? I'm in 10th grade.
Yeah.
I go out to an
He's
audition.
like, I got this. Bro.
Frankie
I
drives
got
me to
this.
my first audition ever. And I walk into the casting office. They're like, Tanner, we just want to, you know, because this is at the time where they
Was
thought
there a casting couch?
this was the casting couch. I sit down on the casting couch, and they're like, Tanner, and this is the time where they really thought that if you had a lot of followers, it would generate to views on a TV show. So they were like, 500,000 followers. This kid gets
We got
half his
we
we got an audience. We're gonna get this show greenlit. They come up there, and this was when, and they found out that business model failed really fast with influencers because it doesn't translate, whatever. And I'm sitting down in the office, and they're like, Tanner, we just want to let you know, like, we pretty much wrote this part for you. Frankie's sitting there right next to me. We want to just let you know that all you really got to do is just say the lines. We just need to see that you can even say lines.
He could.
And I'm not kidding. Before this, I was like, I'm funny.
Yeah, I got this.
I can look you in the eye.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a movie star.
Yeah, I got
I
this.
sat in that office,
So crazy.
and let me see this piece of paper.
Sure.
I'm like this, and I can't pick my eyes up from the page to go read the lines. But
So crazy.
nice to meet you, Cynthia. I'm like having a panic attack.
Oh,
They go,
no.
okay, let's just put it down. Let's just have a conversation. All my motor skills went out the door.
Of course.
All my I could not. I literally bombed. Like you talk about comedians
This is
bomb.
wild.
I've never bombed in my life in a wrestling match. I've been pinned by kids I shouldn't get pinned by. I've never bombed in my life worse than the way I walked in that studio. Frankie, say there's
It's
another.
wild.
There's like a one plane door between us. He's hearing the entire bomb. Later that night, him and I get in a fight. He looks at me, he goes, "You fucking suck at acting."
Brother, you suck.
And he goes,
I
we
always
get a
knew you
huge fight
sucked.
later because he's like, I'm thinking I'm a big shot because
Yeah.
I'm an influencer.
Yeah.
I got all this money at the time, and I'm like, oh, let's fucking go. And Frankie's like, well, guess what? You can't pay to get. You fucking suck at acting. And I bombed that audition so bad. I tucked my tail between my legs, went right back to Long Island. Pretty much quit. Didn't post on Instagram for 6 months.
Oh,
I don't know
wow.
if those two are exactly correlated, but in my head now they are.
Right.
And I went back to Long Island, focused on wrestling, pretty much quit the influencer thing.
Wow.
Had this nice little chunk of cash, and then I just started wrestling. But then I go to Pittsburgh. I wrestle in college. I started taking theater classes in college, and that's when I really fell in love with acting. And I learned to pick my head up from the fucking page. I learned how to like look someone in the eyes and get present with them. It really taught me how to act. And then
cool.
2 years into wrestling in college, I found out I'm not going to be an NCAA champ because I met some kids that really wanted to be wrestlers. And I knew I just liked wrestling. And I got my ass kicked enough where I was like, I think I want to be an actor now.
Yeah,
I think I'm ready to go try it out.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go back to the casting couch.
I got to keep my ears intact.
He's gonna sit on the casting couch, a little safer there.
A little
It's a happy
safer
place. Happy place.
And I went and after my third semester there, I dropped out, left wrestling behind, moved to California, lived on Frankie's couch for 3 months.
Wow.
Got my own place, and then that was 2019. I want to say for most of my life before that, I was unlike Frankie. It did not take me 10 years to get good at things or to get successful. Most of my life before that, I was like I was in the breadbasket. I was getting money for being an influencer, which I was like, what the fuck is
My
this?
mom and dad would say, Frank, because it would frustrate me because I'd bust my ass for everything, and Tanner just was born with the best genes known to man and just started getting thousands and thousands of dollars to post a 5-second Snapchat. And
people pay me to take mine off, so that
my mom,
just my image.
They go, Dad, I'll give you $1,000 to take down that Instagram.
not to interrupt, but just to put it in perspective, my parents would tell me when I was it was very frustrating for me as an older brother, that had to bust his ass for everything. That was cleaning and building fucking pools to pay the rent. And they would be like, Frank, this happens with some people. And it's happened with Tanner. His shit turns to gold, and you have to get over it.
So that was the narrative for me for a long time. And wrestling, I don't like to equate those two because wrestling is, you can't shit.
No. Yeah.
I went through a lot of fucking struggles mentally and physically in wrestling that I had to persevere to get good. But when it comes to the influencer shit and the modeling shit, they were like, I probably made like
too much,
a couple $100,000
yeah,
before senior year of high school.
That's crazy.
And then I move out to LA and I have this mentality where it's like, well, it works so well there. I just learned to act in college. Let's hit the show rolling. I'm ready to go get my own TV show. Let's make this thing happen. And I go out there and it didn't turn out like that. I'm auditioning. I book one Lifetime TV movie and I'm like, let's fucking go. It's called The Pool Boy Nightmare. I'm like, changed my life. Didn't do dick. And then I'm not kidding, probably took me till just now. It's been 5 years. This year is the first year I will say in my life where I've really like hit like my stride in acting. And I mean, all the money went away.
Yeah.
I ran through all my own money. I saw my finances go from, 6 figures down to literally less than $1,000 because I was being an idiot and I was blind to the idea.
You were maturing.
I was maturing, but I was being blind to the idea.
But it's good though. It humbled you.
It humbled. So like back to the idea is like I quit this thing, which was the influencing thing, to go pursue this acting thing. And the influencing thing, there ain't nobody lands in the fucking, like lands with that shit and like something like that in their lap and it turns it away. And I just was like, whether it was delusion or because, you got to be a little stupid. I was like, no, I want to be an actor.
Right.
And I fell in love with acting. I fell in love with doing theater. I fell in love with really the craft of it all. And I loved film my whole life. And I was like, this is where I really, if I
But
get
you were
one
true to
life,
yourself, bro.
yes. And if
Like you could have just said, "Oh, this was easy. I've got money coming in. I'll just keep posting pictures and whatever."
Yeah.
But you're like, "But I don't really want to do
Nothing
that."
good
and I
is
just
easy.
knew like if
So
I
you're
got
not a
one, if I
sellout,
got
you know?
one life,
Yeah.
and this is what I always think about all the time. It's like, I got one life to live. We don't know. I don't know. I'm not reincarnation, man. I only got one life. And if I'm going to be a fucking influencer for my life, I don't want to live that life. I want to be a fucking actor. I want to be a fucking Marlon Brando. I
Good
want
for
to be,
you, bro.
you know, all my heroes. And I want to be like a fucking De Niro. I want to be a real actor. And like,
Jeff Bridges.
I'm
Jeff
willing to
Bridges.
turn away from this shit to go this direction. I went and did it. And then I'm not kidding. I mean, it was like a huge growth that I think God did for me in a really specific way where I got blessed really well as a child. And then I got older and at a time where I thought, this is what I want more than anything else in the whole
Right.
world.
So
It slowed down a lot. And reality set in.
Yeah.
I had to really put my nose to the grindstone and grind. And those years. So now it's 5 years later. I'm living in LA. You know, I got a job. I got a day job where I had fucking people come up to me at the day job showing me my Instagram. I'm working at a bar as a host. I had someone come up to me, cute girl, by the way, comes up to me, shows me the Instagram. She goes, "Is this you?" I'm like, it's like, oh, the worst. Every person who's been known or well known or at all famous at any point in their life is their biggest fear is to get a day job and have someone recognize you from your last thing.
Sure.
And she shows me my Instagram. She goes, "Is this you?" I go, yeah, that's me. She goes, "But you're like, you got like a check mark. You're like famous." I'm like, yeah, that's me. I'm like, get me my heart's pumping. Get me the fuck out. She goes,
It happens to me all the time
"What?"
right now.
She goes, "What happened?" And I go, "I don't know. I need to make some money." And she's like,
"What drink do you want?"
She's like, "Did you get like canceled or something? Did something happen?" I go, "No, nothing happened." She goes, "That just doesn't add up."
Oh.
And then I'm like, I promised you not. And so that was like the biggest fear was like, I got to go get a day job. I got to go be a regular person. Like I got blessed as a kid where I didn't need to do that shit. And then when it came around, I'm an adult and I'm in LA and I feel like this is the time in my life where I probably should have gone past this. And feel like I'm taking big steps backwards. Long story short, I got humbled and brought to my knees and a lot of times where I was like, God, I got my beautiful girlfriend. I want to be able to take her out to dinner. I can't afford shit. And I booked this role that I just shot for the past 4 months on Valentine's Day. While I'm not with my girlfriend, I'm working at a bar bussing tables. And I walk into the bathroom, I get the call that I booked it. Because on Valentine's Day, so I can't say the name of the show. In a couple months when we can promote it, I'll tell you. But it's big show.
Nice.
Go
Big
show. Announcement from our president.
I saw it. I said, "Wow, what a big show!"
Big show. Who knew it was such a big show? Tanner finally. No, I took him long enough. The kid, who knew, thought he was going to potentially off himself. A lot of failure from this kid. 8 tons of shit. No, I did. But it took me a long time.
But he loves NoFo Studios.
I love NoFo Studios. And then, so I booked that show. And that's my first big thing. And I've been shooting that for the past couple months. And then it's like it's like I think we all work off vibrations. We're all working at a different energy. You get the bug, you get the rub, you feel good about yourself. People start showing up for yourself. People start showing up for you.
Yeah.
The next audition, I auditioned, I'm not kidding, probably hundreds of auditions. And I didn't get any of them. Maybe got to the second round, maybe got to the third round, got none of them. I mean, I got down to the final wire for a show that's like, you see the deal. They're like, "Oh, you're going to make a couple $100,000. And then they go, "We had to go with the other guy." And then a strike hits and then you can't work for 6 months. So hundreds of auditions, don't get shit. Book this show. I go back to LA for a month in between the blocks where I'm shooting. They go, "We have time for one audition for this show." It's called Shrinking with Harrison Ford and Jason Segel.
Show.
And
August 5th, baby, August 5th.
And Michelle, it's an amazing show. And
I actually watched this one. I'm very excited for this one.
Frankie loves that show. And first audition back, I'm like, "Fuck it, yeah, I'll do it." I take the tape, do one take, send it to my agents and managers. I lose my phone, gets stolen, so I have no phone for the week.
Runyon Canyon, right?
I'm Fryman Canyon. They took my fucking phone, stole my identity. So I'm dealing with identity theft. I get a call from my agent and manager off my girlfriend's phone. "Where the fuck have you been? Where's your phone? We've been trying to get a hold of you." I'm like, "I got robbed. They go, "Well, good news is you booked Shrinking. You work tomorrow." And so the first audition, back-to-back auditions this year I booked. And it was like, things just vibration-wise, I guess I started showing up for myself. God showed up for me, and things worked out. So that's where I'm at right now. And back to like my feelings about the North Fork. I mean, this is like my home. I mean, everything I know and love is from here. The sense of humor I got from my friends out here. Oh my God, Frankie, I think you forget about that. Like, I was raised around some of the funniest people in the entire world.
Oh,
bro.
yeah.
This town, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about Long Island. I just want to say Long Island generally. It's the funniest people ever. Everyone's just like, why? Where does this sense of humor come from? Where do you come?
It's the
I'm like,
fertilizer in the
it's
water.
the fertilizer in the water. It's the fluoride. They're trying to turn us.
By the way, I just want to say, I do resonate very much with Los Angeles, but I grew up my most formative years in Long Island, New York, and it's very clear to everyone who meets me out here that I am not really a Los Angeles native. Everyone,
You're a New Yorker, bro.
when people go, "Where are you from? Where'd you grow up?" I'm like, "Oh, Long Island, New York." This is the response from everybody. Oh, wow, that explains a lot.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're a little bit crazy here, but listen, it's good to be real. You know,
Right.
at the end of the day, doesn't really matter what people say or think. You know, it's how you feel. I mean, both of you guys were willing to just do what it takes to find a path and create your own path. I mean, Tanner, you know, I got to tell you, I always said this because I've been in sales my whole life. And last time I worked for somebody, I was 16. Now I'm 46. So never had a check unless I created it. Never been able to pay a bill unless I closed the deal. And I always said, you know, actors are probably the best salespeople in the world.
Oh, yeah.
But they're not in sales of monetary sales. They're in trying to get roles and everything else. But I guarantee you put Tanner in a script on a phone and he would be a top sales guy in any company he worked for.
It's his
And someone like you too, Frank,
Frankie, you too.
because the reality is when you could break the barriers down and humble yourself and get in front of people, and whether you got to bark like a dog for the part or whatever, when you break all that down, really you could do anything.
Right.
See, the problem with everyone today is that from what I see, because I train agents and stuff and I deal with people and they don't know how do you build a brand, right? You guys are brands now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, everyone's a brand. But until you're whole with yourself and understand what makes you tick and why you do the things you do and your pressure points, how far you go, how high your pain tolerance is, what you're willing to do to get what it takes, then there's no way you could sell yourself to other people. And whether you're going for a role or you're going to be doing something on tour, no one's going to believe you're there and love it until you know that you love it. Because I'm telling you, it is about frequencies. It's about being an influence, right? I mean, I'm not just using that in terms of influence or with Instagram.
No, I hear you.
But being an influence, right? Because like when we're gone, and I say this all the time, you get your money. In 100 years, your pictures won't be on the wall. Your great grandkids won't know who you are. Nobody wants your items that you left behind. But your word is bond, right? Mm-hmm. And if you are somebody that they say that was a good man, that person made changes. Like I'm big in telling everyone, Tanner, I love you, brother. Frankie, I love you. And Vin, I love you. And you know what? In a world being canceled because you can't say how you feel and you got to worry about everything, bullshit. Tomorrow's never promised. Make sure that everyone you know that you care about knows you appreciate them, because that's the most important thing in this world. In my opinion,
I live by that. I live by that.
Frankie, I love you, dude. Frankie never signs off. I probably can be worse at it because I just become, I just am in my head for so long, and I think I'm just trying to show up for myself now. It's like sometimes you need to hit a vein, you need to get a little success, and then you can start being like, oh wow, like I've been like. Just stressing about this thing that potentially you don't even know it doesn't matter that much
on the positives.
Until even though like all I cared about was like if my life could never be like I would tell myself every day, but you don't know until you actually get a little success to know that that's not where real success comes from.
Right.
And like if someone told me like when I booked these roles and it was like, dude, when you get that call, you're like been waiting for that call your whole fucking life. It feels like you've waited for that call for 5 years. Every day you're thinking about that call.
It's like the ex-girlfriend that won't call you back.
Just won't call you back.
Or you
but it's the casting directors. And these casting directors. No, but when you get the call and then you wake up and you still got to walk the dog and wipe your ass and you start going and you go like, and then I remember telling myself like, it's not going to make you change. And like until you realize like who you love, your family, the people you love, like, and if everyone
and yourself, man,
and me and loving me and like, dude, I didn't realize until you can't teach that lesson. You can't tell someone that lesson. You can't finger wag that lesson at anyone. You have to get what you want to know that what you want isn't what you really, really want.
Isn't what
you have
need.
to work for it, right?
Yes.
If you didn't so for example, Tanner, you're the perfect example. Influencer fell in your lap and you gave it up. You didn't have to work hard for it.
Mm-hmm.
But 5 years later, what did you work hard for? And now what do you appreciate? And you will always appreciate it. You'll never forget eating ramen, Frankie.
Yeah.
Right? If you didn't work this hard, come on.
You wouldn't be in your neighbor's apartment right now,
and
Frank.
you wouldn't fight so hard to keep it.
House, estate, if you will.
Estate.
I love it. a couple things I want to say. First of all, just to circle back to what you said, Doug, I one of the first jobs, or one of the second jobs I did when I moved to LA and was making zero money through music, is I sold a subscription to a customizable family locally sourced box of produce to people door to door.
CSA.
It's a lot of words there.
It's a lot of
Imagine how hard it was selling that and explaining it door to door, knock on people's doors. They're having a glass of wine after. Dude, it was insane. It did teach me.
Door-to-door sales are crazy, bro. They assume you're a Jehovah's Witness, and and then as soon as you're not, they're like, I don't care.
And now you can't even talk shit when you walk up because everyone's got a ring.
Yes, bro.
So you're like talking shit like, oh, these fucking people open the door.
Everyone's got you on radio.
So I have some sales experience, and that shit is brutal. Second of all, I want to say something that I've been trying to preach to, I have students that I teach how to produce, and I help them develop their brands, and I kind of tell them, I kind of steer them away from certain decisions due to the mistakes I made. This is my second project, my second artist project. My first project completely failed. And before I even start,
like 5 years in this shit, and he just gave it up.
Wow.
And he just goes, his society's like, dude, I gotta let this baby die.
Well, that's a good decision.
And the first thing I figure out when I'm but even before I start teaching them technical stuff or how to make music or what to do when you send music to a label or stuff like that, is what I like to tell people that are debating whether they want to get into something like this, is there's a big difference between really, really wanting to do something because you think it's cool and it looks awesome and you want to live that life, or really needing to do it. And the difference between that is, no matter what, no matter what, you are going to die. And when you die, it's inevitable. We're all going to die. And when you die, when you're laying on your deathbed, is this something that you need to do to feel fulfilled with your life? And if you think that you could, if you think that you could be on your deathbed and be fulfilled without this thing, you're not going to have what it takes to grind for 10 years, for 13 years, for 15 years to get it done. So if you really, really want to do it, that's not enough. You have to need to do it. That's what makes that's what makes it worth Tanner dropping thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars to do this thing instead, even though he has to go work a day job. That's what
go broke. You know what though?
That shit sucked.
Listen, but you know what? You broke it all down. Frank, that was awesome, bro. You hit the nail on the head with that, because Tanner, listen, it's easy to judge, right? Like somebody that doesn't know you that would see you on, I guess, Instagram would say.
And then see me in a bar.
Then see you in a bar. But no, but they would listen.
Yeah, no, fuck them.
People love to hate, And no matter how you became successful, whether you worked, like Frank, if someone didn't know your story, they might be like, oh, he's just whatever. He just fell in it. Tanner's fell in it. But the reality is, maybe you fell into the Instagram thing. Maybe that was easy for you. But you didn't fall into acting.
No way.
You didn't fall in getting an audition. You didn't fall in landing a part, and you're doing it. So like, and you, Frank, with the touring and being seen, like you guys are busting your ass. And it's really important that to all the people that hate, and just understand something. Nobody got to where they are because it was easy and without failing. All right. Nobody did. Maybe there was some easy wins in the beginning, but remember, the rent is due every day. Okay. Success, the rent is always due. And to stay successful every day, you got to keep innovating. You got to keep trying.
It's true.
You got to give these guys credit, because I'm going to be honest, it's easy to say, oh, well, this was easy for them or this, that. But the reality is it's not easy. It's not easy. And you got to be thankful that you have people like this to be motivating you and to help you push forward.
I like the way you put that, man. I like the way, even with people, because I think, especially when you're down, it's like you become the biggest hater ever. You start looking around at that's a Nepo baby there, a Nepo baby there. This time, like, bro, I don't care how many, if you get literally handed a fortune to go take care of, if sooner or later, everything has a cost, and you're going to run out, and you got to stay successful. Then you have to live up to the success that was handed off to you. Like, I don't care who you are. Like, it's hard to stay successful. Very hard. If you're successful, let's just put it plainly. If you're successful, you are successful. Right. You can't hand success off to you. You can hand money off someone. You can hand fucking a great business. Yeah. They can run that business in the ground in 2 months.
Funny you said that. They say by the time a business goes to a third generation, it fails. Because the passion that started in the first, the second generation witnessed that passion. The third generation has no clue who that first generation was. and it goes down. So it's
Interesting.
to the money right there.
Yeah, bro.
To
If
the
you're
money.
successful, and you get that when you get like some success, or even like Frank and I are like, this year has like been a great. We both hit a vein this year that's like we both like started vibrating at a different level, and it's super awesome to be doing it together.
Exciting.
And have so much mutual respect, because there's time where we definitely, we're brothers. We've been with each other through everything, but there's times where we're both like looking at the way we're doing each other are doing things, and he was like, fuck this kid, like getting all this money, and he doesn't even like it. He doesn't even show up on time.
Right.
And then I see this guy like fuck Frankie, like fucking treat him a pro, And then eventually to get to a place where we're both, I'm 25, he's 31, and we both like have so much mutual respect for the way we the shit that both of us
I just this is really important to say, right? Because and I've said this to Tanner and other people multiple times, but the fact that this kid had literally everything that 99% of the population dreams of given to him, and that he just said F it and said, I'm going to do this instead, and I'm throwing this unbelievable gift that most people would die for just because it authentically isn't for me, out the window. I never had that. I left high school and I had music, and I just said, that's it. I wasn't given, I don't know what I would have done if I was given $100,000.
It's that same deathbed thing you were talking about, Frank.
That's so impressive, and that takes an unbelievable amount of willpower, and that proves that this is what he's meant to be doing, and that proves that that's all worth it. That's
back to what you
crazy.
said, Frank. I found the thing that you talk about. Wrestling. Even despite how much I love wrestling and the success and how much that sport means to me, still. I mean, it's nothing compared to the burning passion I have to act and the burning passion I have to be in the film industry and to write movie. Like I wrote my own movie the past. I took 4 years of the time not working. I've written like 5 drafts of my own film, and I'm really passionate about this industry. And like Frank said, I don't care. I'd be laying on my deathbed one day, and if I saw that I made all this money doing something I didn't love, I would be like, it's a wasted life.
Right.
Exactly.
And I don't care.
It's not the legacy you want to leave.
Back to also, like, if I had a good family and a great, that's the shit that really that makes things happen. But a big part of your life, dude, I don't care what you say. I know family is everything. Without it, nothing else matters. Literally nothing else matters.
Right.
But there is other stuff. Like you want to fucking have a career. And like if my career was something I was not, and I was just not fired up about, I would be really, really, I would be so disappointed.
But to be fair, like you said, not everybody has this work ethic.
Or not everybody finds passion.
Right.
Passion is a big.
People don't find passion. Like I know people like who are like, I'm like, what would you do if you could do whatever you want? They go, I'm telling you, I don't know.
Right.
And Frank and I were very blessed to have conviction from a young age to go, this is our shit. And we could point at it.
Focus. Well, Frank said a good point earlier, and I believe this. I think I know everyone in this room does, but I mean, I'm saying it. But the problem we all have today, and the generations that are going to come out, is that everyone's being programmed. When you're a little kid, you go to school. Then you got to listen to stuff. I mean, and
sheeple.
And then you're going to go through.
Don't get them started.
And then you're going to go into college and all this. Yeah, we can't get canceled. But I will say that everyone's not really thought how to think outside the box. They thought how to think and do the job of somebody else. I mean, listen, my kids, I can't even do their math with them because to get to the way they want them to find the answer is not 2 + 2 anymore. You got to go around the corner, make a right, hit a left, and then if it's raining, you can't give the answer. It's insane. And I said, they change things for no reason, right?
Talk about this
we should be simplifying. So we can't go into full detail with this.
Big math is coming. Big pharma and big math.
Yeah.
The right
we won't go into too much detail.
We're going back to 2 + 2. We're going to do 2 + 2 again if you want.
The basics. But the good thing is
Terrence Howard, he's right. 1 + 1. 1 × 1 is not 2. Is not 1. It shouldn't be.
But sometimes it is.
But sometimes it is. I don't know. Doug, who knows? This guy's talking big about talking big about big math. Big math will come after you. Say goodbye to real estate.
We're getting canceled. But the biggest thing is what I'm trying to say is that we're programmed, and we're not programmed to be out of the box and be free. And you know what? So Frank, if you were a rebel and you know what, Tanner, you're being a rebel, good for you guys. Good. I'm so happy someone didn't deball you and say, okay, I'm cutting off your balls and conform. No, we need more people out there today saying, you know what? I don't agree.
Yep.
I don't agree with what you're saying.
It's not what I want to do.
It's not what I want to do. That's a path for a million other people. They could be worker bees. I'm going to create my own path. So you know what? I think education is a beautiful thing, but I think that being free and saying, hey, you know what? I could learn on my own. I could do things. I want to do my own path. Good for you guys.
Yeah.
Seriously.
And I love it. And back to like the the premise behind what we're talking about here about hometown value, small town
small
values.
town values.
Small town
Small
values.
town
Start
values.
small. Start small.
It does, and I'm telling you, I despite the fact that there's, I mean, dude, you go to any town. I mean, especially like out here, it's an industry town. Like I think Long Island is blue collar, from like the people, and like it's a town where we saw a lot of people do a lot of similar stuff, and that's great.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so my best friends are all doing
God bless.
a lot of them have the same jobs, and a lot of them doing the same. They're still fucking hilarious, and they're great, and they have fun. They still go grab beers with me on the weekends, and it's great. And I think in an environment like this, it actually gives sometimes you more room to be unique, because there's such thing as unique.
Right.
Yeah.
Because then you live in a place where it's painted rainbow, everything you can't being blue doesn't matter.
Right.
But you're in a place where there's two color tones and you want to be blue, then you actually stand out a little bit. And there's
Right.
something special about being able to stand out in a small town.
There's
confidence.
there's also something to be said. So first thing I want to say is that then there are some of those friends I have that grew up, never left, work construction, whatever, went to college and are working at a cubicle. And there is something to be said for some people that do that. Actually, that is what makes them the most happy. They love doing that. That is their favorite thing to do, and that's more power to them, right?
They have gratification.
But hold on one sec. When you leave school, you go into college, and you're going to decide what you want to be, right? That's all the well and good. And a lot of times you're not monetizing that. So, and you're already coming out, starting life in debt, behind the eight ball, right? But you come out of school and you go to construction. I framed houses. I was a civil servant. I worked three jobs every chance I had just to put myself ahead or more comfortable, right? But you go out, you become a construction worker, you're making a lot of money.
They make a
not
ton of money.
everybody's willing to do it, right?
Yeah.
So actor, great career. DJ, great career. Construction worker, great career. But it's the person that goes to school, wastes 4 years of their life, comes back and does nothing, and all they have is debt. That I got a little.
That's not my
with.
thing, bro.
Yeah, I, don't
I also think that like you hear people like you talk about jobs that sound like they're a pain in the ass, like roofing in the summer or laying construction.
Hard work, but you get paid.
You get paid, baby. And also, bro,
Right.
you know how many people don't work. Their work isn't their passion. They work so they can go do their passion.
Right.
And they have passion. I don't care what you do for work. We're blessed in a situation where our work is our passion. Not many people are blessed with that. No. And also we got blessed with that after years and years of not being able to have there's a give and take. We don't have stability, but we're doing our passion. They have stability and they don't get to do their passion as much. But when they have their summers off or they have their weekends off, they're going to learn how to surf. They have the money to do it, which I think is also really important. It's freedom. And the freedom of the idea of like, I just want to see people with passion. And I don't care if your job isn't your passion. You go there, you show up, you put your nose, you grind. And then on the weekends, I want to see what you're doing on your weekends.
Figure out how to monetize.
Also, something that is pretty unconventional that me and Tanner were very, very blessed with, but is unconventional growing up in Long Island. Most people who grew up on Long Island that generations of their family have lived there, their fathers and mothers and their fathers and mothers before them all kind of did the same thing. So there's not really a blueprint for doing something other than that. We moved to Long Island from Los Angeles when we were very young, and neither of our parents went to college. Both of our parents were full-time actor models. So we had the generation before us.
We were the liberal family that came from Los Angeles. We pulled up there like they fucking hated Frankie. I assimilated all the quicker, but like we were like the liberal California one line. My parents didn't want to be called by Mr. and Mrs. It was only Liz and Frank, and that was like really weird. And like they were the ones that like kids talk to them like their peers and let you cuss around the house if you're not being really inappropriate. And like that's like the family we grew up around. That's like we were raised, you know.
But that encouraged you to go out and find your dream too.
But like,
and it was great.
When I go, hey Dad, I need a DJ turntable. I'm not going back to college, and I want to go to this unaccredited school dedicated to electronic music production to learn how to make wub music. Like they don't go. There's no way you have to. My dad looked at me and was like, literally, we went to an open house at the school. And I'm trying to convince him to pay for it with the little bit of grant money that we got. And we're on the drive home from New York City after going to an open house. And I'm like, oh, shit, this school is not a school. Like, there's no way he's going to go for this. And 30 minutes into the ride, my dad goes, well, at least I'm going to spend this money on something you're going to fucking use. And I was like,
Yeah.
let's
Good.
go.
Yeah,
Zag.
you
And
support.
Frank Zag, let's go, baby.
Go
Also,
big
he
Frank.
did the same shit. So did my mom did this. My mom grew up in Los Angeles. It was a little different. My dad went from Miami, and when he was 20 something, he moves out to LA to go become an actor. And his family all probably wanted him to go to college. He got great grades in high school, and like he should have went to college, but he went and said, "Fuck you, I'm going to go become an actor." And he goes and does it. And then he came back to Miami and gave up for a couple of years. And all his friends played that Gladys Knight song,
Yeah.
"Midnight
right.
Train to Georgia."
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
and he's like,
Yeah.
superstar, but he didn't get far. But they all played that song for him when he walked into the
They
bar.
roasted him.
They roasted him, and then he went back out to LA and did 50 some odd movies, and he had
Wow.
a successful career. You know,
Frank Zagarino.
so he's got no way. You know, imagine him trying to tell
Badass.
us not to go get after our dreams. Like
Yeah.
it's not his style.
But you see how important support is. And that's
Yep.
where we go back to earlier.
Mhm.
We were talking about telling people you love them, telling people you care. A simple gesture of support or kindness can spark so much in somebody's
Your whole
future.
life. Your whole life.
You know what I mean?
one person
and-
tells you
and
that
I
you
just-
got something.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, I feel like this is really important to say that I was a rebellious little shit growing up. I wanted to do what I wanted to do, and if I was told not to do it, I'm having a fit,
Did it
right?
anyway.
Yeah.
I'm having
I
a
think we all totally understand how you were as a kid.
Shouldn't have told him not to smoke weed.
Yeah. Don't tell me not to do it.
He goes,
Uh,
"I'm gonna smoke
You
weed
tell
every
me
day,
not
bro."
to. You tell me not to do it. There's a 100% chance I'm going to do it. But what I want to say is that I grew up thinking that I just had parents who were being parents, right? That they had kids and they're doing what they signed up for. After growing up and hearing stories from other people about their relationship with their parents, whether they were supportive of their career path or not, that aside, me and Tanner grew up with the best parents known to man. We got so
Absolutely.
lucky,
Very blessed.
and there's no possible way that we would be doing what we are doing right now without the unbelievable parents that we grew up with. So
Yeah, I
we got it.
Yeah, shout out to Big Man. Shout out to Liz. Liz was
Yeah.
Liz was from the jump when I tried to go to college, she goes, "This is a mistake."
Liz,
My mom
Yes,
literally, the
your
only
mom
reason,
said-
everything.
I love
And the
that.
reason why, I swear, the reason why I falling flat on my face hurt so bad was because my mom really did convince me that shit was not going to happen. She was not to say that she thought it was, she knew it was going to come back around. She ended up being right. You know, I'm gaining success now, but she was like, my mom really the amount of confidence she had in me was like, when I went to college, when I got accepted to one of the best public universities to go wrestle, my mom was crying. She was so sad. No, she was
This
so
is not
sad.
the path I have.
This is, you're supposed to be. You have a spark, Tanner. You have to go.
Yeah.
She goes, now you're going to waste your own fucking money, and he's not going to finish, Frank. I tell her, and then I dropped out. She goes, I told him you weren't going to finish. I knew it.
But it wasn't the path. And sometimes, like you said, we all need a little like of a spirit guide, somebody to help us get through.
Mom did that for sure.
Yeah, and there's nothing, guys.
Liz made this show happen, by the way.
Yeah,
guys.
Liz-
without Liz and
I would've-
Frank, they wouldn't be
Liz-
here right
How
now.
quick did we just go? Oh, we're in.
Your mom
Yeah.
was here the last week, and she said, how come you haven't asked Tanner to come on the show? And I honestly said I didn't want to put him in that spot. One, I didn't want to think that I only wanted you on the show because of your recent success, both you and Frank.
Yeah.
More importantly, I didn't want you guys to feel obligated to come on. We don't have a big following yet, but we will. But your stories are exactly what I want to
That's the whole
portray
point.
to our audience, right? Your parents didn't say you got to go to college, you got to do this, you got to do that, and guess what? You would have had college debt, and what would you be doing? Because that was all wasted experience.
I would have
right?
I would have gone to theater school and
Your
spent $100,000
right.
there.
Frankie-
to go become an actor anyway.
Frankie,
Right.
your first failed project was not a failure. That
No.
was going to college. You
Right.
learned. You paid.
School of Hard Knocks,
You paid
baby.
a lot for that experience.
Yeah.
Same thing with you, Tanner. You've paid a lot for your entire experience so far that got you to this point.
Absolutely, bro.
Mhm.
You didn't waste time going to college, figuring out what the hell I'm going to do. Right? My guidance counselor. Listen, this is how terrible our education system is. My guidance counselor knew I was going in the military. Didn't suggest ROTC. I had no clue. Right? I didn't know. He goes, well, instead of going to the Army, maybe you should go for a liberal arts degree. I'm like, what the fuck would I do with a liberal arts degree? How am I going to make a living with a liberal arts degree? This is a guidance counselor in public education system. I'm not all for college. I didn't need it. I made my way. You guys did the same thing. Doug, I don't know. Did you go to college?
I did. I
Did you
did.
graduate?
I did.
Get him off
Believe
the
it or
fucking
not.
podcast.
Yeah, Doug. No,
To
but
become a real estate.
I'm sorry.
To do
guys.
real estate. Were you a business? Did you study business?
Yeah, so
All right.
just to make you laugh though, so I started off when I was 15. I had a job. So I said, you know, when I could just probably make more money doing stuff myself, I started a landscape business like every other kid. But it actually grew. You know why? Because I actually showed up. You know, that was the key. Just show up.
You cared.
Return calls, and I said, you know what, I could do this, and I'm making more money than anyone else right now in my grade. So then after college, I grew the business, became a landscape masonry, sold that, started an insurance business, sold that, started one more insurance business, sold that, and then we have a commercial lending and real estate. So I like to build businesses, let them grow, let them build some market share and sell them. That's kind of like what I like to do. But it didn't start that way, you know, and then I need to go to college for that. I'll be honest with you, seeing the growth of the North Fork, I wish I would have taken the money I was making when I was younger in landscaping.
Invested in some real estate on the North Fork. Yeah, holy shit. Who could have guessed?
And those houses that were 120,000, I would be retired fat cat right now. I was fortunate. My parents paid for my education. What did I learn? Guys, the reality is you learn how to enjoy your fraternity brothers, drink beers, throw TVs out the windows, how to pass classes. Because
how to talk to women.
How to talk. Yeah, of course.
I'm telling you, college did teach me something.
Yeah.
I learned how to court ladies.
Yeah, you learn, you know. But the biggest
now he has a supermodel girlfriend.
European history since 1817 doesn't really matter
around you, but it doesn't.
My opinion, 2 years education gives you everything. You know, I did go to a community college. I went up to Plattsburgh. I went to community college for semester 2 to catch up on some different things. And then I transferred in. And I got to tell you, community college is probably one of the best places you could start at.
You made right. And I'm not saying everybody goes
to
college.
Dude, if you want to be an engineer, you got better go to fucking college. You want to go be a professor, you got to go to college. You know,
but
there's just certain things.
But as a parent, just to say you must go when that's not what your passion is.
Why would you want to? I couldn't imagine like a kid that doesn't know what he wants to do yet. Be like, let's wait for you.
I wasn't good in school because I didn't like someone telling me what to do. My dad said to me, I'd love for you to go to college. I'd love for you to do well. And if it doesn't work out, stay. What kept me in college was my crew. I love my boys. I love college. I love my party. I love partying. I love the whole thing.
Yeah,
all the things that made me happy.
That's how much rent costs for a year. Let's just think about that.
So
you go pay rent on your own for a year. You're paying, 25, 30 grand sometimes.
So it was good, but I also didn't go to an Ivy League school. I went to an affordable college. And you know what? It was a great thing. But the reality is my lessons that the fundamentals of what made me who I am 30 years later was starting that landscape business and pulling those weeds with my hands. Yeah. And my friends or people I hired back then not showing up, but I still had to go back to finish the job. And I still had to go back to make sure the client was happy and taking the calls and bidding and estimating and losing jobs and getting jobs, knocking on doors. Hey, I just did your neighbor's cleanup. Can I clean your leaves? Right. And you know what? I was proud of that work. It was gratifying. But those fundamentals.
You felt that at the time as a kid? Did you actually have a real feeling when you were 15 going like, because I just didn't have that in me
I felt good.
At that time, I'd be like, fuck this.
Well, you know what it is?
But you probably had like an entrepreneur's brain from a young age.
I enjoyed it because I felt like I was my own man. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I got to be honest with you, back then, the starting wage was $4.25 on the books. I was charging $20 an hour, and I was, making, people were willing to pay me for 3 guys $60 an hour, $20 an hour a guy. And I said, I only pay my friends like $10. Right. Yeah. That's $30. I'm making $30 an hour now, basically.
That helps you.
I work an 8-hour day. That's $240. My friends didn't make that all week. Right. Now, granted, I had my mom's station wagon to pull around my trailer. Right. I had used equipment.
You got a lot of help.
Support. I don't care who helped you out. If you get successful, you got successful.
Yeah.
You can't hand off success.
Together. But I want to. It was the hustle is what I got. I'm sorry.
No, I'm interested in this because I think it's really interesting hearing about kids with that like mentality.
Yeah, it was just the fact that, hey, I can go out, meet people I don't know. I can close them on my services. I could do the work. And the way I looked at it is, listen, I was cutting 20 lawns on a Friday.
Give you confidence.
I was working out, basically walking behind a walk behind, pulling in like $800 every week, cutting lawns.
As a kid.
When I was in high school, so I was driving, it was like 17. And I said, this is good. Now, unfortunately, when I got out of college and I took the business to the next level, I bought equipment, machines, I had insurances, workman's comp was $30,000 a year. And I said, you know what?
I don't really want to do this.
I don't know if this makes sense. I was like 23 and I was jacked back then. I worked out like it was, when you're lifting bricks all day, you could do stuff.
Get jacked.
And my dad said to me, he goes, Dougie, listen, I love you, kid. And I know you're getting success. We were actually doing a lot of work, thanks to my uncle. Give me a big job in Queens, and we were taking the equipment and the trucks into the city doing jobs. And if you want to be a masonry business and you're in Whitestone, Queens, every neighbor has a brick. Everyone has a job for you. So forget about it. You didn't get down the block without work. But my dad said, Doug, look, the pencil is so much lighter than the pen. I sent you to college to pick up the pencil.
That's
And he goes,
good.
you're getting older, and I could see you're getting tired, and you're a young man. He's like, you don't need to do this. He's like, I was like, well, Dad, I'll get people, I'll hire more people. And he goes, listen to me. Keep it small, keep it all. And that's why those old Italian masonry guys, they're still laying bricks at 70 years old because they kept all the money.
Yeah.
You want to have a crew, you want to do all this stuff, you're not going to have the money you're making now. He's like, get yourself into what I went. And so, long story short, a friend's mom said, hey, you should do insurance. You'd be great. Turned around, got into insurance, opened up my own office, and it worked. But the point was the principles that I learned at a young age that, hey, I could sell. You know, I could make people believe me, and I could do what I said. I could be a word of my word is bond. I'll show up. Right.
And that gives you confidence as a kid. That gives
you a good reputation.
I want to quickly circle back to something that you said quickly there that I think is really, really important. You said what kept you going through college and kept you going through that learning experience was your crew. And I think when it comes to pursuing anything really, really difficult, I don't think anyone on the planet has truly ever succeeded at that thing or done that thing completely and totally by themselves. I don't believe that exists.
Go watch Entourage.
Entourage.
Wait a sec. Talking about Entourage.
But Frank, you're right. It's the people that you surround yourself with that get you through these times.
And I just want to say that
so true.
Me and Tanner moving to LA together and pursuing these really difficult kind of light at the end of the tunnel years later things together. Like if I wasn't here pursuing something of similar fashion with Tanner this whole time, there's no way I would have been able to do it. I lean on this kid. I lean on this kid for so much. He's helped me so much. I've been homeless, broke. I've been on his couch, no questions asked. I've been broke. I've been broke. He sent me money, no questions asked. Pay me back whenever you can, or don't pay me back. Like the amount this kid has helped me, like I would never been able to be on this tour and be doing this music thing without him. And on top of that, surrounding myself with amazing like-minded people that make music or work in film or whatever that you truly love and that you truly trust and that you truly resonate with. It's impossible to do it without that. So that's something that I heard you say that I feel like is really important to carve out there is you need a crew. You need a crew.
You need your crew.
And you need to trust them. You need to trust them and love them. And what you also need to do is you need to focus on surrounding yourself with people that you believe are better than you, that you aspire to be like.
More successful people, bro.
And be happy for their success.
Yes.
Right.
You want to always be reaching to get to these people's level in a healthy way. You know, you want to aspire people with not only fiscally or career wise, but their character. You want to aspire to be like, oh, this person leads their life and treats other people the way that I want to treat people. I don't only admire their career path and their work ethic, but I admire their character. Like,
agreed.
I need to say this to conclude for this. We're about an hour, 8 minutes in. We're in. I need to say that my girl and my brother, but for someone who's been close to me that's been like such a good North Star has been my lady, Marissa Long out there. She's the most amazing person in the world. And I've been dating her. She's been dating me, and she's like killing it as a model. She makes tons of money. She's got no reason to be with me besides that she loves me. And she's been sitting with me for 3 years through this whole.
She believes in you, bro.
She's got a lot of reasons. She's been through the shit with me, and she's been somebody that when you talk about like a North Star for like a person to want to be like, she's that person.
I love to hear
that. She's the best. She's behind it, whatever they say.
I love her like a sister, man.
Strong
lady. Yeah, it's so true.
She's got stuff. She's got a light that cannot be dimmed, and that leads me through my life.
I love that. It's a blessing. It's a blessing. Sorry to cut you off, but it's a blessing and a curse because Tanner and Marissa's relationship has set the bar for what I hope to find myself, and it seems nearly impossible to find what they have. It is so special and so beautiful.
Yeah,
You'll
no,
find it,
it's
buddy.
it's a special thing. But
I
you
feel
know,
confident enough that I'm saying it on a podcast
Yeah,
right now to be like, yo,
yeah.
For life.
that's
You
my
know?
girl, bro.
But
For real.
but one thing I just wanted to say, Tanner, you know, there's something that maybe you don't see, but I could see it. You know, you have hope, and you're optimistic,
Right.
and you know,
Positive.
and obviously Frank has built the same DNA as you with that, and you know, you came in today and it lit up, right? The
whole
lit
room.
up. You know,
Yeah.
we're all like, you know, it's good energy, you know, and Frank, you know. We're like touching hands through the camera here, but you know, it's like, hey, buddy, but you know, there's energy there. Frank, you got it. You through the camera, you let people know, hey, I'm a fighter, I'm a survivor. I kick ass. I don't
Don't
back
give
down
up.
from a fight.
Right.
And you know, Tanner, when you said, you know, she might be monetarily crushing it right now, but spiritually, she's connected with you, and like, and she loves you because you have promise and hope and youth, and hey, I'm gonna make it. And you know something? I'm gonna be honest with you. There's nothing more to me, because I love entrepreneurship, is surrounding yourself with somebody that believes in something.
Yes.
And that's dedicated to something,
Right.
you know? So,
Shows you it's
brother, I'm
possible.
proud of you, bro.
Love you
like,
guys,
you
bro.
know,
This has
you
been
love
so
you,
much
man,
fun.
you
I'd
know?
like I'd like to thank you guys, but more importantly, if former President Trump would have closed the show for us.
It's me, Donald Trump. I'm here to say that this has been an amazing time here. Oh my God. What an amazing studio. Great guys. We got Dougie over here. He's rich. I can tell just by the way he walks. And we got Vinny across from me. He can kick my ass. I can feel it. He can kick my ass. And I let him kick my ass. It would probably feel nice. I'd like it. Frank Zagarino over there going on tour. Who knew? 10 years of eating shit, and now he's going on tour. And Tanner, who knew? That's all I could say. Who knew? This guy, zero promise, but he's gonna do it.
Zero
Closing
promise.
the show. Love you guys. Kamala Harris, I love you too, baby.
Guys, you heard it here first. No